I could talk for hours about some books. I'm back for another video. So in today's video, as you can tell from the title, I am talking about all the books I read in January and all the books I decided not to read in January, along with the books I currently anticipating reading in February. So you guys know I love to talk about books. It is my passion. So I don't want this video to be too long, so we're gonna hop right on into it. Okay, hop right on in. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is all the books I read in January. So if you guys don't know, if you ever want to know what books I'm reading in real time, go and follow me on my Goodreads, because I put every single book in there as I'm reading it. As I progress through the book, I update it, and then at the end I give it a 1 through 5 star review. I don't write any reviews or anything like that, but I do update it on a regular basis. And also at the end of every single month, if you just want a full list of what I've read for that month, follow me on my Instagram. I have a 2022 books highlight for you. January is already up there, and February will be up there at the end of February, beginning of March. So we're just going to get into what I do. So far this year, I've already read 8 books. My love for reading at the start of this year has been amazing. Like, every book I pretty much get is just so good. I only think I didn't read one book, and we'll talk about that a little later. If you see me looking down, I just have my Goodreads, so I can just tell you the order that I read the books, and, you know, not give a synopsis because it'll make the book, it'll make it be too long. I'll try not to. If I need to give you a little bit more information, I will, but, you know, we don't want this video to be hours and hours, because, you know, I could talk for hours about some books. Okay, so you guys know I put it on my Instagram. One of my favorite new favorite authors is Fredrik Backman. He is a Swedish author, I believe. Yes, he is a Swedish author, and he's like a realist. I think it's fiction realness is the category, or fiction realist or something like that, y'all. So the first book I read of his was last year, was called Anxious People. That book was so good. It was so character driven. It had you like, even though that book had like several different characters, I was invested in every single character and every character's story. And I was like, I have to read more of his stuff. I didn't really get time to read anything more last year, but I wanted to make it my mission to make sure that I get into reading his stuff this year. So I started off with his first book, which was Britt-Marie Was Here. Sorry. Britt-Marie Was Here, and it's about this lady who finds out that her husband is cheating on her with his secretary, of course. And she finds out because he ended up having a heart attack while they was together, and she had to come visit him at the hospital, and she happened to be there at the hospital, and it was just really awkward and just crazy. So she decided just one day to pack up and move out and find a new job and find somewhere else to go, and kind of like come into her own. Now she has a very, very, very severe OCD. Like, she cleans upon hours upon hours upon hours. She thinks everything has to have an order, everything has to have a list. It was just such a good story about finding yourself doing different things, because she just did the same routine over and over and over again. And that's what a lot of wives do. We do the same thing. Well, when I was a wife, we used the same thing over and over and over again. And we took things that we knew we shouldn't took. Like, she suspected that he was cheating, but she knew he was cheating. But you know how we do sometimes. And so I think that was just the last straw from her. And she's like, okay, I'm out of here. I got to do what I got to do. So it was such a good book. I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads because I didn't like the ending. I'm having an issue with, I'm enjoying books. They're so good. I'm invested. I love the characters. And then the ending be like, that's the best you could do. You got tired at the end. Like, I feel like authors are getting tired at the end of the books and just put anything out there. Authors, I need y'all to, I know it's hard to write a book. I ain't never wrote a book before. But if you're going to keep thing up, you got to keep it up all the way to the end. You just got to. So it didn't really end well for me, so I gave it 4 stars. They actually have a movie out for it, so I'm thinking about just going on Amazon one day or Netflix or somewhere and see if I can find the movie and watch it and see if it's as good as the book. Most of the time the movie ain't as good as the book, but we'll see. Also, Anxious People has a series that's out on Netflix as well. I'm waiting on Alicia. Yes, Alicia, I'm calling you out in this video because I've been waiting, okay? I've been waiting for Alicia to finish the book so we can watch the series together, but she's around here playing, so she might get left. Like, you might get left, Alicia. I'm talking to you directly at this point. But I really, really want to watch it, but I'm waiting for her to finish the book. I'm waiting for sis to finish the book. Can you finish the book, sis, please? I'm calling you out on the YouTube. Yes, I am. If you're watching this, read the book, okay? And so I'm waiting on her for that, so I can't wait to watch the series. So Anxious People, I hope it's so good. The next book I read was called Last Girl Ghosted, and I'll make sure I put the actual pictures of the books right here. By Lisa Unger, and it's basically about this lady who went on this dating app and met this guy, and they started dating and, you know, talking and all this kind of stuff, and then he just ghosted her. Like, he was never to be returned. She couldn't hear from his phone number, disconnected. It's like he fell off the face of the earth, and for some reason she decided she needed to go on this journey to find this guy and figure out what had happened. So it was pretty good. Once again, it was lackluster in the ending. It got 4 stars. I mean, it was just like, that's all you got for me? That's it, child? So yeah, Last Girl Ghosted. It was good, but the ending was not the best. So next I read What She Forgot, and this one was a really good book. I gave it 4 stars as well. I mean, if I give something 4 stars, that means it just didn't end well. Like, I'm not gonna keep explaining myself, because y'all be like, girl, did you like any of any book? And most likely I didn't, because these books, I'm telling you, they just not doing right. So What She Forgot is about this lady who got into an accident, and she woke up in the hospital with amnesia. And there were certain things when she got home. So she had a husband and 2 kids. So there were certain things when she got home. Like, they was like, you didn't used to do this, or you didn't used to bake, or you didn't used to like to do this, and you didn't like to swim, and blah, 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 and this and that and the other. And so it kind of goes through her process of relearning her life, relearning her family with a twist. And so after weeks and things, she started to remember things, and everything goes left, you guys. Goes left to the left to the left. It was a pretty good story. It had me very engaged. I really wanted to know what happened next, and so I thought it was really, really good. But once again, the ending didn't do it for you, girl. It didn't do it. So, and then the next book I read was We Are Not Like Them by, and this was my book club book read of the month. It is called We Are Not Like Them by Christine Pride and Joe Piazza, I think. And I was so excited because our author for this book, she actually came to our book club meeting. Well, she didn't come. She did a Zoom with us, a Zoom call with us, and she was answering questions and talking about the story, and she reposted us on her Instagram. It was everything, you guys. It was really, really good, like talking to an author about their book that you currently just read and getting like their insight and their thought process and how they came up with the story and all kinds like this. This book was so good, and it's not the typical black boy gets killed by the cops. I mean, it is, but it has like a twist. You get like the victim's perspective, you get the parents' perspective, you get the officer's perspective. And so it's basically about these 2 women who grew up, a black girl and a white, well, a black woman and a white woman, who grew up knowing each other from being babysit all the way up to, I think, high school, and then they separated when they went to college. And it just talks about their friendship and all the things you don't talk about when you have a white friend and a black friend together. Like, there's some, you know, with that dynamic, you don't talk about racism, you don't talk about what happened in the world, like, because it usually goes left or right, or you find out people's true colors, and you don't really want to find out people's true colors. So it really talks about the dynamic of having white friends when certain things are going on with black people that they don't necessarily understand. So the black woman, she is a reporter at this news station, and she is assigned to the case of this innocent, I think he was 14-year-old boy getting shot by the police. And then the white woman, her best friend, is actually his husband, who is involved in the incident, even though he's not the one, I think, who shot the kid or initiated the shooting. You know, him and his partner are up for, you know, trial and all these kind of things. And, you know, people are egging their house and calling them racist and this, that, and the other. And so it kind of shows how they distance each other and how they go through the heartache and the pain of trying to navigate this new life, because they was never had anything like this hit this close to home. And there's a lot of little side stories in there, like something happened to her brother. And I think she took a really long time telling us what happened to her brother to keep us in suspense, but I mean, it wasn't anything that was like truly big, but something happened to her brother and she used to date a white guy, and then she don't tell you why she didn't date the white guy anymore, and then what happened with the friendship. So it's a lot, you guys, but it was such a good read. It was really insightful seeing both sides, because the authors, one's black and one's white, so they each wrote it from their perspective, and very good. My favorite part of this book was the intro. The intro starts with the victim. You know, you never hear the victim side of a story, especially if they died in the incident. You don't get to understand how they felt in that moment, what they was thinking, praying, crying, whatever the case may be. And I really love that they started this book off with the victim's voice, and it was amazing. Like, that was the most powerful part of the book, and I gave that baby 5 stars. So if y'all haven't read We Are Not Like Them, I'm gonna need you to check it out. It was such a good read. Then the next book I read is Till Death Do Us Part by Daniel Hurst. I gave it 5 stars. It was actually really good. Megan thinks she has the perfect husband and the perfect life. Craig works so that she doesn't have to, leaving her free to relax in all the beauty in the secluded country home. But when she starts to long for friends and purposes, Megan applies for a job. So it's basically about this stay-at-home wife who met this perfect guy. She was working a restaurant, didn't have any money. He had bukus of money. He did some startup company and has thousands and millions, quadrillions of dollars. And it's that typical sleeping with the enemy type story, basically. And it actually was really good. I gave it 4 stars because, once again, the ending was lackluster. But it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's not even that long. It's probably like 200 and something pages. Oh no, it says it's 325. Okay, I was wrong. 325 pages. For some people that's long. It's not that long for me. But I gave it 4 stars. It was actually really good. Very suspenseful. For a while there, you didn't know what was going on or why he was doing what he was doing, but it was actually really good. The last book I read in January was A Man Called Ovie. And once again, this is a Fredrik Backman book, the Swedish author. I gave it 5 stars. When I tell you, this story was so heartbreaking. Like, I was in my whole feelings reading this story. Like, it was so freaking good. Like, it's basically about this grumpy old man named Ovie, who all the people in the neighborhood think he's just grumpy, he's just a mean person, and you know, he just wants things the way he wanted. He's a stickler by the book, sort of like Britt-Marie, but in a different aspect. Like, everything by the book, OCD, got to do this at the same time every day, got to do this every day, this, that, and this way, and you have to do it this way, and you have to follow the rules, and you can't break the rules. And so one day his new neighbors are moving into the house next door, and they ended up like smashing his mailbox, so he had to help them like bag up their trailer to the house so they could unload all their stuff. And it just shows the journey from there. So it kind of gives you flashbacks of, you know, when he was younger and how he became the way he was and how he got the way he was, and then him getting married, even though him being weird and odd to other people, this one woman finding him to be just a breath of fresh air in his life and her in his. And it kind of talks about his grief process, because she recently, I don't know if she recently passed away, but somewhere in the story she passed away. And it talks about, you know, just grief and loss in such an amazing, beautiful way. It's not like he's sad all the time, he's depressed, he's doing this. It's just about how he goes on his day, and he can't do this and he can't do that until he finishes this. And I don't want to tell you what he's trying to do because it'll give away the story, but it's just such a good, very real look at grief and how people deal with grief, and how unexpected people can change your life. Let's just say that. It's such a good read. I can't wait to watch this movie. This is a movie too, so I want to watch this movie as well. And I want to talk about the one book that I didn't read in January that I just couldn't get over the first couple pages. I think it was another Swedish author, but it just wasn't giving what it was supposed to give. So I read like 4 or 5 chapters, and then it was over. It says, I think it's We Know You Remember was the name of the book, and I'll put it right here. I don't even have the author. I don't even know, because I didn't finish it. I didn't like it. I couldn't finish it, so I DNF'd it, which means do not finish. So when you don't finish a big book, booktubers call it DNFing, and I just couldn't finish the book. In 2022, I finally decided that I will not read books that I am not into, because what it does, it causes you to become come into a reading slump, and that will cause you not to want to read books at all because the last book you had was so horrible, you know what I'm saying, or you forced your way through it and you really didn't enjoy it. So I don't care if it gets better later. Like, I'm not waiting till later. Like, I have goals to reach. We're not doing it this year, so it's DNF. I sent it back to the library. So those were the books that I read in January, which was 6 books. I've currently read the 2 books in February already, and today is February 8th. I know, overachiever. But I mean, once I'm in a reading like mood and I'm like not feel like I'm being forced to read or catch up on a go, I like to keep that momentum. And I'm not reading books like on purpose this fast. It's like, so basically I have to read 1 book a week. So what I do is I usually find the book that I want to read for that week. I divide the total number of pages in that book by 7, because there's 7 days in the week, and that's how many pages I have to read every day. Now, if a book is real good and I can't put it down, I'm not gonna make myself put it down. Like, if I want to keep on reading, I'm gonna keep on reading, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna read my allotted number of pages for the day if I don't have time or other things are going on. But if I'm in a book and I just want to read it and get to it, then I'm gonna keep on reading. Like, I'm gonna sit in the bed and read. I'm not gonna watch a movie. I'm gonna read a book because I want to know what happened next. Okay, so that's how I've been lately. So that's why I'm at 8 books now. The first book I read in February was called The Yellow Wife, and it's about this black girl who is a slave, and she grew up in the big house because, of course, the plantation master is her father, her illegitimate father. And so her mom was like the medicine lady who like healed people, deliver babies and stuff, and she worked in the house like with her mom, seamstress, all this kind of stuff. And of course, the husband's first wife loved her and taught her things that she shouldn't be taught, like reading and that all kind of stuff. And then she died and he got a new wife, and she hates her guts. Like, she don't want her near her doing anything. So one day her mom and the slave owner, the master, went out on this journey, and to come to find out they both got hurt and something happened. And so her and the lady of the house fell out, and she ended up selling her. And so it tells her journey from there of being sold, and, you know, how slavery go, being sold, and, you know, being a slave and being taken advantage of and all those type of things. It was such a good read. I read this book so fast, you guys. I saw it on somebody's Instagram and I took a screenshot of it, and I was like, let me find out what this is about. And when I did, I thought it was very interesting, so I decided to pick it up, and I'm glad that I did, because it was such a good read. It's not your typical, you know, I mean, as slaves, you get abused, you get whipped, you get, you know, beaten and all this kind of stuff, and people die, and it's sad, but it's not like all about the death and the sadness. It's about a mom trying to have her children have a better life, and it kind of, at the end of the story, it all comes together, and you just feel a little bit of triumph, as much as you can feel being a slave, you know, and going through slavery and that type of stuff. But it's still a win nonetheless, even though, you know, they had to go through so much to get there. I just thought it was a really good read. So if you want to read it, girl, because I enjoyed it. Okay, and then the next book I read was The Last Thing He Told Me. I also gave it 4 stars because it didn't end the way I wanted to end. They could have did better. It's just, I don't understand. So basically it's about this lady who was married to her husband. I think they only been married for about 18 months. He got married to her. She got married to him knowing that he had a child. So she became a stepmother. She doesn't have any children. The stepdaughter doesn't really like her, but she tolerates her for the dad. So then one day the husband comes up missing. Like, he literally gives a note that says protect her. Gave the daughter a note, you know, telling her, you know, here's some money, I'm sorry I had to leave you. And it's them going through the journey of finding out why did he disappear, or what happened. Like, of course, there's the FBI and everybody's coming around trying to figure out what happened. And he was with this company that ended up being, I think, fined or going to jail from SEC. Like, they was trading stuff wrong. I don't know about stocks, child. Something about some stocks, and his partner was going to jail, and then he ended up disappearing. And come to find out, that wasn't the reason why he disappeared. There was other things in the background that caused him to have to flee. But it was a really, really good book. I actually read it really, really fast. I think I read both of these books in the same. It was a really good read. I read it super, super fast. But at the end, it wasn't really, you know, giving what it was supposed to give. I don't know what's up with that, but unfortunately I gave it 4 stars, but still a good read nonetheless. Most of my books are 5 stars or 4 stars, so that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the book. I didn't think it was a good read. It wasn't a fast read. It was just some little element of the book that just didn't quite make it. Didn't quite get there. You know what I'm saying? But doesn't make it a terrible book. Like if it's terrible, I'm gonna tell you don't read it. Like, but this one was good. I think you guys will enjoy it. Okay, you guys, so moving on to the other books I want to get to in February. So my to be read books. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the list that are currently in my house that I want to have read read by the end of the month. If I finish before the end of the month, great. I'll add more books to the list. But if not, these are the 4 books that I'm going to finish the rest of the month. And the first book is called Lisa Jewell, The Family Upstairs. And it's about this girl who was adopted, and at 25 she gets her trust, and it tells her who her real parents are and that they left her this house, but there's some kind of mystery because her parents died under mysterious circumstance. She was found abandoned in the house. She had siblings, but when the police got there, the siblings were gone and the baby was only left and the parents were dead. And so it kind of goes through her getting her trust and trying to find out what happens to her parents. I'm only a couple of pages in, so I can't really, she just got her trust and found out that she inherited this house, and that's where I left off so far. So far so good. The next book I want to read is actually our February book club book of the month, and it's called 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I don't know what this book is about. I didn't even read it. It says Eva Marie is a single mom, best-selling erotic writer who is feeling pressed from all sides. Shane is a reclusive enigmatic, award-winning novelist who, to everyone's surprise, shows up in New York. When Shane and Eva meet unexpectedly at a literary event, sparks fly, raising not only their buried trauma but the eyebrows of the Black literary. What no one knows is that 15 years earlier, teenage Eva and Shane spent one crazy week madly in love. While they may be pretending not to know each other, they can't deny their chemistry. So it sounds really, really good. 7 Days in June. Okay. So that is our book club book of the month for February. So definitely have to finish this before the 3rd Sunday in the month, because that's when our book club meeting is. The next book I want to read, In Every Mirror She's Black. And it's by, I can't even pronounce it, so I'm not even finna try, child. I might have to put pictures. There we go. And this is what it looks like. Very cover, very thick too, compared to the books I've been reading. And this is basically about a successful marketing executive. Kimmy is lured from U.S. to Sweden by Johnny, CEO of a nation's large marketing firm, to help fix a PR fiasco involving a racially tone-deaf campaign, a killer at work, but a failure in love. Kimmy moves in the last-ditch effort to reclaim her social life. At a chance meeting with Johnny in a business class en route to the U.S., former model turned flight attendant Britt-Marie Johnson to a wealth and privilege in life she's not sure she wants, as the object of his unhealthy obsession. A refugee, Muna, who lost her entire family, finds a job cleaning toilets at Johnny's office. So what it's basically about is these 3 women were involved with this influential white man who ended up getting murdered, and I think it's gonna tell like their story. I don't know if they think they murdered him or what, but like I said, I don't know what it's basically about, but I've seen people talking about it, so I decided to pick it up. So sounds interesting. And then of course what I've been waiting for, so you guys know, in last year I read Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and I told you the sequel came out in February, so your girl got it picked up. You guys know I don't buy books. I get my books from the library. We don't really pay for books around here. I mean, I don't mind paying for books, but I don't want to house books. I don't want to have bookshelves. I had that in the past. I never reread a book, so I'm most likely getting all my books from the library or borrowing it for a friend and return it later. So to each his own, but I don't really buy books. So it's called Black Girls Must Be Magic, and it's the sequel to Black Girls Must Die Exhausted. So of course you guys know it's about Tabitha and her issues with trying to get pregnant and have a baby and be in this relationship with this guy. So really, really good. I'm super excited to read this one as well. So this video is probably a million years long. I am so sorry, you guys, but y'all know I love to talk about books. But that is my January wrap up and basically what I plan on reading or continuing to read in February. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any more videos from me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Is this what you want now? Feels like you're looking for something better.